All right. Let's supercharge that everyday English, huh?
Sounds good to me.
We're going to dive deep into 33 words. 33 words.
Wow.
That'll make you sound, well, instantly more like a natural, confident English speaker.
I like it.
And this isn't just, your basic vocabulary lesson.
All right.
We're going way beyond that, I think.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to uncover how native speakers, actually use these words, the subtle ways. You'll be surprised, I think.
You really will.
At the nuances.
Yeah, for sure.
That maybe you've missed before, even if you've been speaking English for quite a while.
It's true. Even simple words, right? Can have all these hidden depths to them.
Absolutely.
And using them correctly can make a big difference, I think.
Totally.
In how you come across, especially professionally.
Yeah, especially in professional settings.
Okay.
So our source material, this is designed for upper intermediate learners, which means you guys listening, you already have a pretty solid foundation.
Yeah.
We're just adding that, extra polish and precision.
That's a good way to put it.
Think of it like, you've got a good basic dish.
Okay.
And we're just going to add in those gourmet touches, really going to elevate the flavor.
I like that analogy. We've got some tasty ingredients to work with today.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start with these essential words for daily conversations, right? This is the kind of stuff you need to just, navigate life.
Yeah, just get things done. Errands, appointments, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The building blocks, right?
Yeah.
Fluent communication. Master these, and you'll be able to handle almost any everyday situation, I think.
Totally. And the first word that jumps out at me is convenient.
Okay.
I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this too, native speakers use it to soften requests,
Oh, yeah.
or suggestions. Instead of just saying, can you meet me at 2 p.m.?
Yeah.
They'll say, would 2 p.m. be convenient for you?
That's a great observation. Yeah, it adds that layer of politeness.
Yes.
Consideration, right?
Yeah.
Which can really make your interactions, go much more smoothly. It shows that you're thinking about their schedule and their preferences.
It's such a little linguistic trick.
It is.
But it makes you sound so thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, another word in this category is confirm.
Okay, yeah.
It's obviously important, right?
Right.
For making sure everyone's on the same page. But I've noticed it's also often used in emails, to add that sense of urgency or importance.
Totally.
You notice that?
Absolutely, yeah. Just adding a simple phrase please confirm your attendance. It can subtly nudge someone to respond quickly.
Yes.
Right? And it shows that you're taking the matter seriously.
Yeah.
And you expect them to do the same.
Right. It's almost like a gentle reminder disguised as a polite request. That's good stuff. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit to the workplace. Workplace and business vocabulary.
You love to see it.
I mean, you got to love it, right?
Well, they might not always spark joy,
Yeah, that's true.
these words, but they're definitely essential for, succeeding in a professional environment.
They really are. And one word that always makes people cringe a little bit is deadline.
Okay.
But, think about how native speakers use it, though. It's not always this harsh, immovable wall,
You're right. It's not always a hard stop.
Right.
Yeah.
They often soften it by using, phrases like let's aim for, or ideally we'd like to have this by.
Right.
It frames the deadline as a shared goal rather than a command.
Exactly.
So it's not just about meeting the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how you communicate it, the tone.
Exactly. Yeah. And another word in this category I find fascinating is prioritize.
Oh, yeah.
Real power word, I think.
It is.
Because it shows that you're in control of your workload, right?
Yeah. It's like saying, I've got a lot on my plate,
Yeah.
but I know what's most important.
Yeah. And it can be a great way to, push back politely if someone is asking you to take on too much, right? You could say, I need to prioritize my current tasks, but I can take a look at that next week.
Okay. That's a good move. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try that one. All right. So let's talk about something a little bit less stressful, maybe. Shopping and money vocabulary.
Okay. I like it.
I got to admit, I do love browsing online stores and comparing prices.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't enjoy a good bargain hunt?
Right.
Yeah.
But even when you're dealing with money, there are subtle ways to use language that can make you a more informed and confident consumer.
I think so too.
For example, I've noticed that native speakers use purchase a lot
Yeah.
when they want to sound more deliberate,
Uh-huh.
intentional about their spending. It's not just buying something, it's making a considered choice.
You're right. It elevates it, right?
Right.
Like buying to something more thoughtful, especially like when dealing with larger purchases.
Exactly. Like you're saying, I didn't just impulse buy this.
Mm-hmm.
I carefully considered my options, and I made a conscious decision to purchase it.
Right. And that can be a powerful distinction,
Yeah.
both for your own like financial awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also for how other people perceive your spending habits.
Okay. Let's move on to social and entertainment vocabulary.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. The words we need to connect with others and have some fun.
Yeah, this is where language comes alive, I think. Sharing experiences, expressing emotions, creating memories.
And one word that immediately brings those good vibes is concert.
Oh, yeah.
I just love how it like conjures up images of like live music, crowds of people singing along, just pure energy.
It really does. It encapsulates like a whole sensory experience, right? Like, and notice how native speakers use like all these vivid adjectives, right, to describe concerts. Like unforgettable, you know?
Yes.
Electrifying, soul-stirring, like they're painting a picture with their words.
They really are. It's like they're inviting you to relive the experience with them. Now, another word in this category that's like super versatile is host.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we already talked about how it can be used to like subtly encourage action,
Right.
right? But it also has that like more literal meaning of someone who welcomes and entertains guests.
It does, and it's interesting how that concept of hospitality extends beyond just like social gatherings, right?
Yeah.
Like you can host a website, host a radio show. It's all about, you know, providing a platform, a space for others.
So it's not just about throwing a party, right?
Right.
It's about creating that experience, the sense of welcome,
Yeah.
no matter the context.
That's what makes this word so powerful, right? It captures like the essence of generosity
Yes.
and connection.
Okay, before we jump into the next set of words, I kind of want to pause and reflect for a second.
Okay.
What's like standing out to you so far? Any words you're particularly like excited to try out using in your own conversations?
I think for me, I'm really intrigued by how native speakers use, you know, convenient and confirm to like subtly influence interactions, right?
Yes.
It's a good reminder that even like seemingly simple words can be used strategically to get a specific outcome.
100%. I'm already thinking about how I can weave those into like my emails,
Yeah.
my conversations.
Yeah, and don't forget about like prioritize.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's a good one.
Such a powerful word for like setting boundaries,
It is.
managing expectations, both in like professional and personal settings.
Absolutely. It's like a magic word for staying in control of your time and energy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you ready to explore some more?
I am.
I'm excited.
I'm eager to see what other like linguistic gems we uncover here.
I think we're going to find some good ones.
Me too.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's keep this vocabulary train rolling.
Let's do it.
I feel like,
Yeah,
my English muscles are getting stronger already.
for sure.
What's next on our list?
Well, let's delve into a word that's, essential for those moments when
Yeah.
plans change.
Yeah.
The inevitable cancel.
Oh, yeah.
Cancel?
Yeah, it might not be the most
Right.
pleasant word to utter,
No.
but mastering its nuances, I think, can save you from some awkward situations.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of last-minute cancellations.
Oh, sure.
And I think knowing how to, like, communicate those clearly
Yeah.
and politely
Right.
is key.
It really is. And it's not just about saying, I can't make it,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Native speakers will often use phrases like, something came up, or
Right.
I have to reschedule,
Yeah.
which, just sound less abrupt.
Yes.
And they offer, like, a sense of explanation.
Right. Without going into, like, unnecessary detail.
It's like, you're being direct,
Yeah.
but also considerate.
Exactly. It's all about striking that balance. And
Yeah.
that brings us to another essential word,
Flip.
feedback.
Oh, yeah.
We all receive feedback, whether we
Yeah.
seek it out or not.
Sure.
And I think knowing how to use this word effectively can make all the difference
Yeah.
in our personal and professional growth.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Feedback can be a powerful tool,
It is,
for learning and improvement, but it can also be kind of tricky to navigate. You know what I mean?
for sure.
I've noticed that native speakers often soften the blow
Yeah.
of constructive criticism
Uh-huh.
by framing it as observations or suggestions
Exactly.
rather than like,
Yeah.
outright judgments.
Right. So instead of saying, you should have done this or you did this wrong,
Right.
they might say something like, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Or have you considered? Right.
Yeah.
Creates a much more collaborative,
Yes.
a less confrontational tone.
It's like you're part of the solution instead of being the problem.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears to something a little lighter.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Fun.
I mean, this word just encompasses so many things that we enjoy.
It does, and it's a word that often comes with this sense of excitement and anticipation, right? Like native speakers will use phrases like, I can't wait to, or I'm really looking forward to when they talk about entertainment.
Hopefully.
Which I think adds to that feeling of eagerness.
Like they're already experiencing the joy even before it's happened.
Exactly.
And speaking of excitement, let's talk about bargains.
All right.
Who doesn't love a good bargain?
Bargain hunting.
Yeah.
It's practically a sport for some people.
It is.
And native speakers have like this whole arsenal of vocabulary for describing their amazing finds, right? Mm-hmm. So they might say something is a steal, you know, a great value, or worth every penny.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like they're giving you permission to like indulge without feeling guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, on the flip side of bargains, there's the reality of expenses.
Right. That's true.
And this is where the words expensive and affordable come in.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about stating facts. It's about expressing opinions,
for sure,
preferences, right?
Yeah. Native speakers might say something like overpriced or a bit steep or reasonably priced, you know, depending on the speaker.
So it's not just about the price tag. It's about how that price makes you feel and how you want others to perceive it.
Exactly. Using language to convey your personal value system when it comes to spending.
Love that. Okay, before we wrap up this section, let's tackle a word that's super essential for any consumer. Refund.
Oh, yes. Refund.
Ah, yes. The magic word. Right. That can, like, save the day when a purchase goes wrong.
Totally.
But I've noticed native speakers often approach refund requests with a certain level of, like... Diplomacy, yes.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just, like, demanding.
Right. They're very tactful about it. That they might start by, you know, expressing understanding, acknowledging the inconvenience before actually stating their request. So, you know, phrases like, I understand this is probably not your fault, but, or I'm really disappointed with this purchase and I was hoping, you know, things like that can go a long way in getting a positive response.
It's like you're appealing to their sense of fairness and customer service.
Exactly. And not just demanding a refund outright.
I love that. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
It's amazing how much depth and nuance there is to even the most everyday words.
It's true. And I think the key takeaway is that language is so much more than just, you know, communication.
Yeah.
It's a tool for building relationships, expressing ourselves, and navigating the world around us.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So as we move into the final stretch of our deep dive, let's keep this idea of like strategic language use in mind.
Okay.
What are some other ways that we can use these seemingly simple words to make a big impact in our everyday lives? You know, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
How we can unlock like a whole new level of communication.
It's true.
Just by like, you know, fine-tuning our word choices.
It is, yeah.
And we've been talking about these 33 essential English words.
Yeah.
And I'm like already starting to see them in a new light. It's not just about knowing the definitions.
Right.
It's about understanding like the subtle ways native speakers use them to create these
very intentional
specific effects.
Yeah.
It's like having, you know, like a secret code book.
It is, yeah.
For navigating these everyday conversations, workplace interactions, even those tricky moments when you need to, like cancel plans or request a refund.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And the best part is these secret codes are actually pretty simple.
Yeah, I think so too.
To implement.
Once you're aware of them, right.
Once you're aware of them.
Yeah.
It's all about like paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
Listening to how native speakers use the language and then, you know, trying it out yourself.
And don't be afraid to experiment, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the beauty of language. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So there's always room to play around with different words and phrases and see what works best for you.
That's such a good point. It's like, you know, like learning a new dance move.
Oh, yeah.
You might feel a bit awkward at first.
Yeah, for sure.
But the more you practice it, the
Yeah.
smoother and more natural it becomes.
Exactly. And just like dancing, the key is to have fun with it.
Yes.
Don't get too bogged down in the rules.
Right.
Don't worry about making mistakes.
Yeah.
Just, the most important thing is to communicate
Yeah.
effectively and connect with others.
I love that. And that brings me to a little challenge
Okay.
I want to give to our listeners.
Right.
Now that we've explored these 73 words,
Yeah.
I want you to pick just 5
Okay.
that really resonate with you.
Yeah.
5 words that you think you could start using more consciously
Yeah.
in your everyday life.
Okay.
Maybe it's convenient for making those polite requests
Uh-huh.
or prioritize for setting those boundaries at work.
Yeah.
Or even bargain
Yeah.
for bragging about your latest shopping score.
I like it.
Whatever words speak to you, I want you to
Yeah.
make a commitment to use them this week.
All right.
See how it feels?
Mm-hmm.
Notice how people react?
Yeah.
I bet you'd be surprised at the difference it makes.
I love that challenge.
Me too.
It's a great way to, put these words into practice and see the
Yeah.
power of nuanced language
Yes.
in action,
That's good action.
And who knows, you might even inspire others to start paying closer attention to their own word choices.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive into everyday English, let's leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
Language is a journey, not a destination.
Ooh, I like that.
There's always more to learn, more to explore,
Yeah.
and more ways to express ourselves.
I agree.
So keep those ears open, those minds curious, and those conversations flowing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, ready to supercharge your English vocabulary. We're talking not just good, but seriously impressive.
Yeah, like moving from okay to, whoa, they're eloquent.
Exactly. And that's what this deep dive is all about. We're going to equip you with 60 powerful words.
Words you can actually use, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't some dusty dictionary deep cut.
It's about sounding smarter and speaking more confidently in everyday life.
In emails, presentations, even just casual chats.
Think of it as your secret weapon to making a real impact with your words.
Love that. Okay, so let's break down this arsenal, starting with descriptive adjectives.
Ah, yes. The words that make your language pop.
Instead of just smart, you could say someone is astute.
Which implies, like, real sharpness, not just book smarts.
Right. It suggests good judgment, too.
Exactly. And that subtlety, that shift in word choice, changes how you're perceived.
Makes you sound sharper yourself, probably.
For sure. Like, imagine writing a business email. You describe a colleague as astute.
Ooh, subtle bragging.
It implies you see them as insightful, adds to their credibility. And yours, by association.
That's a great point. I never thought of it that way.
It's choosing the right tool for the job. Right.
You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb, would you?
Nope. Now, let's say you're describing something imaginative, fun.
Instead of just random, what could we use?
Whimsical comes to mind. Evokes playfulness, creativity.
Ooh, I love that. Paints a more vivid picture.
It's like adding a sprinkle of magic to your language.
Could it ever be bad, though? Like in a super serious setting?
Good question. It highlights how context matters.
Whimsical is great for creative writing, casual talk.
But maybe not a formal business report where straightforward is key.
So it's balance, right? Descriptive, but appropriate to the situation.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's power up. Talking verbs, action words.
Verbs, the engines of our sentences.
They gotta have oomph.
Yeah, how do we make them pack a punch?
Instead of supported an idea, say you bolstered it.
Bolstered sounds way more impressive, doesn't it?
Right. Not passive agreement, you actively strengthened it.
Like you added some muscle to that idea. What else makes us sound persuasive?
How about spreading information? Instead of just spread, use disseminated.
Ooh, disseminated. Sounds official, strategic.
Exactly. It implies wider reach, deliberate action.
Not just gossiping, I'm disseminating vital intel.
And that brings up a key point. The right verb clarifies meaning.
No room for misunderstanding, that's good.
Like, mitigate means reduce severity, while exacerbate makes it worse.
Huge difference there, yeah. The wrong verb can totally change what you meant. Okay, so we've got picture-painting adjectives, action-packed verbs. Now what about nouns, the brainy stuff?
Nouns, yeah, for intelligent conversations.
How do we sound smarter with nouns? Spill the secret.
Choose nouns that handle complex ideas subtly. Like, instead of a problem, you face a dilemma.
Dilemma does sound more sophisticated.
It suggests tough choices, no easy answers.
Not just a flat tire, it's a whole existential dilemma.
Right? Which can actually be helpful sometimes.
Oh, how so?
Say, in a business meeting, a complex deal.
You frame it as a dilemma. What happens?
Encourages thoughtfulness, collaboration, instead of rushing to a fix.
So it's less confrontational, more intellectual vibe.
Exactly. Another one. Instead of contradiction, use paradox.
Ooh, paradox. Like something that sounds impossible, but maybe it's true.
Exactly. A seemingly absurd statement that could still hold truth.
It's like, this can blow your mind, but makes you want to lean in and listen.
Right. Using these nouns shows you can handle complex concepts.
So it's not just sounding smart, it's thinking smart.
Now we got to talk about sounding like a native speaker, right?
Idioms, phrasal verbs. Those are tricky, but fun.
They add color, personality, but
yeah,
tricky.
Meaning's not always literal. Got to be careful.
But mastering them, that's key to fluency.
Okay, hit me with some idioms I can use right away to impress people.
How about jump on the bandwagon to join a popular trend?
Jump on the bandwagon. Perfect for all those things that suddenly everyone's doing.
Right, like a cultural wave you can't escape.
And it's not always negative, is it?
Sometimes it's just recognizing a good opportunity.
Like, hey, everyone's making sourdough bread. Maybe I should try it.
Okay, how about cut to the chase?
I hear that one a lot, but not 100% sure what it means.
Means get straight to the point, no wasted time.
Like a verbal shortcut. Skip the fluff, get down to business.
Precisely. Here's one for social situations. Break the ice.
Oh, like when you're meeting new people, it's awkward.
You do something to start conversation, ease the tension.
It's like metaphorically breaking that frozen barrier between you.
Exactly. And these are just the beginning. There are tons more out there.
But you said they can be tricky. What mistakes do people make with idioms?
Using them wrong or in the wrong situation.
Like break a leg. For good luck might not translate well in every culture.
Yeah, you got to be careful not to accidentally offend someone.
So it's understanding the culture behind the idiom, not just the words themselves.
Now, want to add some extra oomph to your sentences.
Okay, I'm listening.
We're talking adverbs for emphasis.
The seasoning, the spice, the drama. Bring it on.
One powerful one is adamantly.
Yeah.
Like, she adamantly refused to compromise.
Adamantly, that's serious conviction.
Right. You're drawing a line, not backing down.
Okay, that's intense. What about something more, like, deep and meaningful?
Profoundly works there. Deep impact, transformative.
So profoundly is more than just surface level. It really changes you.
Now, want to inject some caution. Little skepticism.
Ooh, good for those I'm not so sure moments.
Skeptically is your word.
Like he listened skeptically, raising an eyebrow.
Exactly. But remember, use adverbs carefully. Don't overdo it.
Right. Too much spice ruins the dish.
A well-placed adverb highlights too many just clutter things up.
So balance again, just like with everything else we've talked about.
Ready to dive even deeper? We've just scratched the surface here.
I'm so ready. My brain is already feeling more articulate.
Back for more. Excellent. Let's keep unearthing these vocabulary gems.
I'm so ready. Part 1 already has me thinking differently about adjectives like, wow.
So let's add some more to your toolbox. How about meticulous?
Meticulous. That sounds very precise.
It is. Someone who pays incredible attention to detail.
Like more than the average person would.
Oh yeah, way more. A surgeon during an operation, that kind of focus.
Or, I don't know, someone organizing their sock drawer by color gradient.
Exactly. But it's not always positive, you know.
Oh, interesting. Too much of a good thing.
Depends on the context, right? Meticulousness can be great.
But if you're so focused on tiny details that you miss the big picture?
Then it becomes a problem. Like a manager who can't see the forest for the trees.
Okay, so balance again. It's a recurring theme here.
Life lesson and a vocabulary lesson, all in one.
I like it. Okay, what about the word candid? That seems popular these days.
Candid is all about honesty. Straightforward, even if it's a bit blunt.
So no sugarcoating, just straight talk.
Exactly. It can be refreshing, especially when people are often afraid to be direct.
So being candid is about being genuine, even if it makes some people uncomfortable.
It's valuing truth over, like, trying to please everyone.
Makes sense. Okay, now for a word that sounds intense. Vehement.
Ooh, yeah, vehement is powerful. It's feeling something strongly.
Like passionately arguing for a cause you believe in.
Exactly. But think about it. Could too much vehemence be bad?
Interesting point. Like if you're trying to win someone over.
And you come on too strong, might push them away.
So passion's good, but maybe temper it with a little logic and respect.
Think of a lawyer giving a closing argument.
They got to be vehement to defend their client.
But also calm and reasoned, or the jury won't buy it.
Okay, that's a good example. Balance, yet again.
Now for something unpredictable. Erratic.
Ooh, I relate to that one. Life feels pretty erratic these days.
Erratic is all over the place, no clear pattern.
Stock market, weather, my sleep schedule, all erratic.
But here's the thing. It's not always negative.
Oh, really? Give me an example of good erratic.
Think about a jazz musician improvising a solo.
Their playing might seem erratic to someone who likes classical music.
But that's what makes it exciting. Unpredictable, keeps you on your toes.
Okay, so even words that sound negative can have a flip side.
Context is everything. Words are tools, you gotta know how to use them.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's not just memorizing words.
It's understanding how language works.
Exactly. Now, more verbs. I need more action words.
Verbs are key. Remember bolster and disseminate from part 1.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Here's one that's useful, but not in a good way. Exacerbate.
Exacerbate. That sounds like it makes things worse.
It does. The situation was exacerbated by, and then you give the reason.
Like adding fuel to the fire, making the problem even bigger.
You see it a lot in news, explaining complex issues.
Now, what about the opposite? Like making things better?
Mitigate is
Yeah.
your word. Reducing the severity of something.
Damage control. Not solving the whole problem, but lessening the impact. That's important in so many fields.
Disaster relief, yeah. Or even just everyday life, mitigating stress, arguments.
I need to use mitigate more. Sounds very in
Right.
control.
Now for one that makes you sound super smart. Scrutinize.
Scrutinize. That's careful examination, right?
Exactly. Looking for clues, details others might miss.
Detectives scrutinize a crime scene. Scientists scrutinize data.
It implies thoroughness, attention to detail, like you're using a magnifying glass.
Okay, that's a good one for when I want to sound impressive.
Now for something a bit sneakier, undermine.
Undermine sounds kind of shady.
It can be. Weakening something gradually, often secretly.
Like rumors undermining someone's reputation.
Exactly. Or constant criticism undermining someone's confidence.
It's subtle but powerful. You don't see it coming until the damage is done.
Let's switch gears to something more, I don't know, heartwarming.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Commiserate.
Yeah.
To share in someone's sorrow.
Commiserate. That's about empathy, right?
Exactly. When a friend is going through something tough, you commiserate with them.
It's that feeling of, I get it, I'm here for you. Very human.
Okay, last verb for now. Illuminate.
Illuminate makes me think of light bulbs, ideas.
It's about making something clearer, easier to understand.
Like a good teacher illuminates a complex topic for their students.
Or a well-written article illuminates a current event.
It's bringing something out of the darkness into the light.
Here, finally, a simple but important one. Reiterate.
Reiterate means to repeat something,
Right.
but for emphasis.
Exactly. To make sure it's really sunk in, no room for misinterpretation.
Like, I want to reiterate, this is very important.
Okay, so tons of verbs, each with its own flavor.
I'm feeling very empowered verb-wise.
Now, ready for some noun power? Level up those conversations.
All right, we've tackled those vivid adjectives, those dynamic verbs. We even dipped our toes into the world of idioms.
Right. But there's this other category of words, kind of like the unsung heroes of good communication.
The behind-the-scenes crew making everything run smoothly.
Exactly. Connector words. They might seem small, but they're essential.
Connector words. Okay, give me an example. What do they do?
They help guide your listener or reader through your thoughts, create a flow.
Ah, so without them, it'd be like a bumpy road all over the place.
Exactly. Choppy, disjointed, hard to follow.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these little words matter a lot.
They're like the architects of clear communication.
Okay, so which connector words should we be paying attention to?
Let's start with ones that signal a contrast, like shifting gears in your argument.
Ooh, I like that. Turning a corner, but smoothly.
Words like however, nevertheless, on the other hand.
However is definitely one I use a lot in writing.
It's a classic. Signals, okay, here comes a different perspective.
But what about nevertheless? It sounds more formal, maybe.
Nevertheless has a bit more oomph to it.
Like, despite what I just said, this other point still stands strong.
Exactly. It emphasizes that your argument is still valid, even considering counterpoints.
So if I'm in a debate, nevertheless is my secret weapon.
You got it. Now, on the other hand, is a bit different.
It sounds more like, let's look at both sides of this.
Right. It's more balanced, presents alternatives without necessarily picking a side.
Like, here's option A, and on the other hand, we have option B.
Perfect example. It encourages thoughtful consideration.
Okay, so we've got contrast covered. What else is there?
Adding information, building on what you've already said.
Like, and another thing, but fancier, right?
Words like moreover, furthermore, in addition.
Ooh, those sound impressive. Layering those ideas, making the argument stronger.
Each one has a slightly different nuance, though.
Oh, like what? Give me the moreover versus furthermore breakdown.
Moreover adds weight to your argument. Like, this next point is even more convincing.
It's the mic drop moment, but for arguments.
While furthermore is more about expanding on the previous point.
Providing more detail, going deeper into that specific idea. So it's not just a random list of points, they're connected.
Exactly. Now, in addition is the most versatile, I'd say.
Just a simple way to add another piece of information.
Yeah, it's like, here's another thing to consider along with everything else.
Keeps the conversation moving smoothly. Okay, so contrast, addition. What else?
Cause and effect. Essential for clear reasoning.
Ah, explaining how one thing leads to another.
Words like therefore, consequently, as a result.
These are like the logic connectors showing why things happen.
So instead of just stating facts, you're building a chain of reasoning.
But those words all sound kind of similar. What are the subtle differences?
Therefore is the most direct, like this must be true because of what came before.
It's a very confident conclusion based on the evidence you've given.
While consequently suggests a more indirect relationship.
Like there might be other factors involved. It's not always so simple. Okay, so it's cause and effect, but with a bit more nuance.
Exactly. And as a result is somewhere in between, I'd say.
So we've got options, depending on how direct we want to be.
That's the beauty of language, right? So many tools to choose from.
This has been amazing. Seriously, my brain is buzzing with all these new connections.
That's what we aim for. And remember, the more you pay attention to these words,
the more I'll start using them naturally without even thinking about it.
You got it. It becomes second nature.
Well, I feel equipped to go out there and conquer the world, one connector word at a time.
That's the spirit. Remember, the power of language is in your hands.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into powerful words. We hope you've enjoyed this linguistic adventure.
And until next time, keep those words flowing. Keep those connections strong.